Let us continue atomic structure. In that hydrogen spectrum we will see. In the hydrogen spectrum we will see N1 and N2 values. N1 and N2 values. N1 is called lower level, N2 is called higher level. For Lyman series, N1 is 1. For N2, for H alpha 2, H beta 3, H gamma 4, H delta 5, H epsilon is 6, H infinity is infinity. Then for Balmer means N1 is fixed, that is 2. Partial means N1 is fixed, that is 3. Bracket is N1 is fixed, that is 4. Fund is N1 is fixed, that is 5. Now you add 1 into this one, you will get this value. Add 1, add 1, add 1, add 1, and infinity. Like this we have to follow the rest of the things also. Here also you add 1, 4. Add 1. You go on add 1 like this, and for this last one infinity you say. Here also you are adding 1. For everything you go and add 1 like this. So if you go and add 1, you will get respective values. For this you add 1, you are adding 1, so you are getting these values. For this infinity we can say. Okay, next we will take de Broglie's dual nature of matter. De Broglie's dual nature of matter will take. De Broglie's dual nature of matter we will consider. Set. Now, electron we will take. Electron is having which nature means particle nature. For that, what is the evidence? Black body radiation, and another one is a photoelectric effect. Is electron having wave nature? Is it having wave nature or not? Is it having wave nature or not? That we have to see. Electron, is it having wave nature or not? We have to see. For which one experiment we will take? That is called a diffraction experiment. We will take diffraction experiment. In the diffraction experiment, we are using radiation. Which radiation we are using in the sense, for one example, X-rays we are using. For a diffraction experiment, we are using one radiation. What is that radiation means? X-rays we are using. This X-rays, let us pass through the slit. So X-rays coming through the slit. Then here let us keep a metal crystal which is in powder form, for which we want to take diffraction pattern. Okay, so here we are taking metal crystal. It is in what manner means fine powder form. For this we want to take diffraction experiment, so that we have taken this. Now X-rays is allowed to bombard over this. What happened means X-rays is bombarding over this and undergoes diffraction. Due to diffraction, we will get a diffraction pattern we will get. How the diffraction pattern will be there? How the diffraction pattern will be there, that we will see. In the diffraction pattern, how it is there in the sense, first this place is suppose dark. Then how this circle will be there in the sense, this circle will be bright. Then next circle is what in the sense, that is dark. Next circle is what means dark. Next circle, if you see, next circle, how it will be there means that is bright. Like this it will continue. Okay. So in the diffraction pattern, how the diffraction pattern is there means, first circle is suppose dark means next circle is bright, next dark, next bright, and goes on. Like this will be the diffraction pattern. This diffraction pattern is obtained by taking what in the sense X-rays. So X-rays are giving diffraction pattern. From this experiment we can say that X-rays are having wave nature. X-rays coming under which category in the sense? Electromagnetic radiation. X-rays coming under electromagnetic radiation. Sir. Now in the place of X-rays, let us take electron beam. Now we will take a electron beam. We are taking electron beam. This electron beam in the sense, this consists of only electrons. That's all. In J.J. Thomson experiment, cathode rays we are seeing. How cathode rays are there? Cathode rays contains only electrons, only negatively charged particles. Like this beam contains only electrons. Okay. So we have taken a electron beam. We have taken, it is passed through the slit. So electron beam is coming like this. Then you keep the metal here for which we want to take diffraction experiment. So we have taken a metal crystal, fine powder form. Electron beam is allowed to bombard on this metal crystal. What happened means electron beam undergoes a diffraction. How the diffraction pattern is obtained in the sense first circle is what means dark, next circle is bright, next circle is bright, next circle is what means dark, next circle is bright, and so on. So for X-rays, what is the diffraction pattern? You see, for X-rays, diffraction pattern is like this: first dark, next bright, dark, bright, continuous. In that way, for electron beam also we are getting diffraction pattern. So electron beam gives a diffraction pattern. Electron beam gives a diffraction pattern same like X-rays diffraction pattern. X-rays diffraction pattern. So X-ray gives what diffraction pattern? In the same manner, electron beam is giving diffraction pattern. From this, what do we understand? This diffraction pattern experiment says that electron is having, this X-rays is having wave nature. So from this evidence, we can say that this electron is having wave nature. So that what is the evidence for electron is having wave nature means diffraction pattern. So we can say electron is having particle nature. For that, experimental evidence is black body radiation and photoelectric effect. And electron is having wave nature. For that, experimental evidence is a diffraction pattern. Okay. So conclusion is what? Electron is having both nature, that is dual nature. Electron is having dual nature, particle nature as well as wave nature. Depending on the place, it will change its nature. For that also, we will give a derivation proof we will give. Now we will take as per black body radiation, Planck's quantum theory says E is equal to h nu. H nu is called quantum. Then Einstein explains photoelectric effect. For that, Einstein gives one formula: E is equal to mc square. So Einstein, this is Einstein formula. This is for photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect in the sense particle. This is Planck's quantum theory. Planck's quantum theory in the sense black body radiation. Black body radiation in the sense particle. So now let us substitute this E into this place. So we will get h nu is equal to mc square. Then we will substitute nu. Nu is called c by lambda. We substituted. Let us simplify this. We will get lambda is equal to h by mc. This is for which one means for electromagnetic radiation. For electromagnetic radiation, because black body radiation is electromagnetic radiation, photoelectric effect is electromagnetic radiation. So for electromagnetic radiation, lambda is equal to h by mc. Lambda is wavelength, h is Planck's constant, m is called mass, c is called velocity of light in vacuum. Now let us take matter. Matter we will take matter waves. Matter in the sense anything, whatever the thing, solid, liquid, gas, anything you take in the universe, that is called matter. Whether it is micro or macro, whatever you want to consider, that is matter. That matter we are considering in the form of wave nature. When it is moving, it is having wave nature. Like this we are taking matter waves. For that, how to utilize this formula? That is lambda is equal to h by mv. What is v? Velocity of this matter wave. What is m? Mass of this matter. H is Planck's constant. Lambda is called what in the sense wavelength. Like this you can see. So for matter waves, lambda is equal to h by mv. Matter waves in the sense you can consider even electron also. Electron also a matter. That's all that is existing. Whatever the thing existing in the universe, that is called matter. So for matter, lambda is equal to h by mv. It is this is derived by de Broglie. Therefore, this lambda is called what means de Broglie's wavelength. This lambda is called de Broglie's wavelength, we can say. Okay. We discussed de Broglie's wavelength. We discussed. Next, in photoelectric effect, we discussed one point. That is maximum kinetic energy of ejected electron is equal to charge of electron into stopping potential. Stopping potential in the sense that potential required to stop the photoelectric effect. So maximum kinetic energy formula is of mv square. Charge of electron symbol will take E. Stopping potential means it is just like potential difference only. There is no variation or EMF. This potential required to stop photoelectric effect, so that it is called stopping potential. This symbolic representation we will take it as V0. 0 in the sense photoelectric effect is stopped. That means photoelectric effect not there. That is the indication of this 0 set. Half mv square is equal to E V0. From this we will take V. V is equal to what in the sense we will cross multiply, and we will get like this. V is equal to like this. Set. This we will substitute into this formula. In this formula you substitute this V. So we are taking de Broglie's wavelength, lambda is equal to h by mv. Substitute V. We are substituting V. It is equal to so and so. Now this lambda is called de Broglie's wavelength, h is called Planck's constant, m is called mass of what means electron, because we substituted here charge of electron. So that m is called what means mass of electron, E is called charge of electron, V0 is called stopping potential. Okay, so this formula we got. Next, this de Broglie's concept is applicable for which bodies we will see. Now we will take micro bodies. We will take micro bodies in the sense electron, proton, neutron, etc. These micro bodies we will consider. For micro bodies, we will take electron. We will take example. For this electron, let us take kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is given as suppose this much. It is the kinetic energy of electron. Then from this velocity of electron, we will find velocity of electron comes as this much. From kinetic energy, we can find velocity. Then this velocity value, let us substitute in de Broglie's equation. De Broglie's equation is lambda is equal to h by mv. Substitute h, which is a constant. M is mass of electron is a constant. Substitute the mentioned velocity. We will get lambda, that we will see. So lambda is equal to h value we are substituting. The value is so and so. Unit is joule second. Then m is called mass of electron. Mass of electron we are substituting in SI unit. Velocity we calculated here, that we will substitute. Velocity we calculated. So we will simplify this one. We will get what in the sense wavelength. We will get wavelength is this much. This much. Here all the units substituted in SI system. So wavelength we will get in meter. This we will convert into so and so. This 10 power minus 9 meter is called nanometer. So we got wavelength of electron wave. Wavelength of electron wave is this much. Wavelength of electron wave we got. It is micro body. Now we will take macro body. We will take macro body. Macro body, what is the example we will take in the sense we will take suppose one ball. We will take cricket ball. We will take, for that mass is how much in the sense 0.1 kilogram. That ball is moving with what velocity means 10 meter per second. Now we will find velocity of this macro body, that is called ball. Now we will take this lambda. We will substitute h value. We are substituting h value. Then we will substitute m. M is called mass. Mass of which body in the sense here we considered ball. For the ball, what is the mass given? 0.1 kilogram. Then we will substitute velocity of the ball. Velocity of the ball is how much means 10 meter per second when it is moving. This we are simplifying. We are getting the value is so and so. We are getting the value so and so. In meter we got all the units we substituted in SI system. So wavelength we got in a SI unit set. This we will convert into nanometer. So we are converting this into nanometer. 1 nanometer equal 10 power minus 9 meter. So we will get so and so nanometer. Now you see, for micro body electron, what is the wavelength you see? 896 nanometer. For macro body we took, for macro body we took ball. For that, what is the wavelength you see? 10 power minus 25 nanometer. 10 to the power of minus 25 nanometer. Okay, so now you say that which wavelength is considerable, which wavelength is not considerable, you say. Okay, so this wavelength you see that 896, this wavelength you see that 10 power minus 25. So which is considerable, which is not considerable, that you say. Okay, so we can say that this is considerable, this is considerable. We can say that it is not considerable, it is not considerable. Therefore, we can say that it is significant. It is significant. We can say that it is insignificant. It is insignificant. Therefore, this indicates that it is insignificant means for macro bodies, wave nature is insignificant. That is the thing. It is significant means for micro bodies, wave nature is significant. That is the point, sir. So that for micro bodies, wave nature is significant, we can say. For micro bodies, wave nature is significant. For macro bodies, wave nature is insignificant, we can say. For macro bodies, wave nature is insignificant, we can say. Sir. Next, Niels Bohr said electron is revolving around the nucleus in a particular circular path. Sir. Now we will take as per de Broglie, what he says, that we will see. Now we will take two things. One is called waves in phase, and waves out of phase. Like the two things we will take. What is the meaning of waves in phase and what is the meaning of waves out of phase? That meaning we will see. And this point is required to say what de Broglie's concept, what de Broglie's thought, and what Bohr's thought. Those two things will be related. For understanding that point, we are taking these two words we are taking. Okay, so what is the point we want to understand? What is the relation between de Broglie's thought and Bohr's thought? That relation we want to understand it. For that case, we took waves in phase and waves out of phase we took. Okay, now we will consider two waves we will consider. We are considering one wave like this. It is one wave. Now we will consider another wave we will consider. We will consider another wave. Another wave we will consider like this. Both waves meet at a point. Both waves meet at this point. Okay, both waves meet at this point. When both waves meet at that point, if wave number 1 is making crest, while wave number 2 also making crest, then we can say waves are in phase. Again, I will say these two waves meet at this point. At this point, wave number 1 suppose making crest, while wave number 2 also making crest, then we can say waves are in phase. Suppose in the meeting point, okay, we will take it is wave number 1. This is wave number 2. They are meeting at one point. They are meeting at this point. When they are meeting at this point, suppose wave number 1 is making crest, while wave number 2 is making trough. So when two waves are meeting at this point, while one wave is in crest form, another wave is in trough form, then we can say waves are out of phase, we can say. Waves are out of phase. So waves are in phase and waves are out of phase. What is the meaning? What is the meaning means so also. If both waves are in crest, then resultant wave will be having higher amplitude. When both waves are making opposite manner, one is crest, another one is trough, means resultant wave is nullified because of these two cancelling. These two cancel with each other, so resultant wave will be having smaller amplitude when compared to these two. Otherwise, the resultant wave will have zero amplitude also. So this indicates a destruction, this indicates a construction. So that it gives about a stable situation, it gives about a unstable situation. So if waves are in phase, stable situation, waves out of phase means destruction. So now we will see if waves are in phase. If waves are in phase, what is the condition? De Broglie says that circumference of a circular path 2 pi r is equal to integral multiple, that means n, integral multiple of wavelengths. Lambda is called wavelengths. So if waves are in phase, what is the condition? If waves are in phase, what is the condition? Means circumference of a circular path 2 pi r is equal to integral multiple, that is n, integral multiple of wavelengths. Wavelengths means lambda. So what is the meaning of this? That we'll see. We'll take it is a circular path. It is a circular path we have taken. For this circumference is how much? Means 2 pi r. Sir, what is n lambda? That we'll see. Now wave is making and this electron is making a wave motion like this. Wave motion like this. Now this lambda is called wavelength. What is lambda? What is lambda? Means this crest you take and this crest you take, distance between these two crests is called wavelength. Okay. Then this crest and this crest, distance between these two crests is called one wavelength. Then this crest and this crest, distance between these two crests is called wavelength. Therefore, this n is called 3. N is called 3 here and the lambda, 3 times lambda. That n is called integral multiple. So that we can say circumference of a circular path, that is 2 pi r. Circumference of a circular path is 2 pi r. N is called integral multiple. Lambda is called wavelength. So we can say 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. This is for what? For what? When waves are in phase. Waves are in phase means this is indicating constructive interference. This is indicating constructive. This is indicating stable situation. Stable situation. Okay. Now we will see it is a de Broglie's concept. It is a de Broglie. So de Broglie's thought, we got it. What is a de Broglie's thought? When waves are in phase, 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. Now we will see Niels Bohr thought. We will see. Okay, we'll see Niels Bohr thought. We'll substitute here some value. This 2 pi r will take, this n we have taken. In the lambda place, we'll substitute de Broglie's equation, h is equal to mb. In the de Broglie's wavelength we substituted. De Broglie's wavelength h by mb we substituted. We will simplify this one. We will rewrite this one. That is mbr is equal to what? Means nh by 2 pi. This is given by which scientist? In the sense Niels Bohr thought. It is Niels Bohr thought. It is de Broglie's thought. Okay, de Broglie's thought. Now you see de Broglie's thought you see and Niels Bohr thought you see. De Broglie considers electron as a wave. Niels Bohr considers electron as a particle. Now which is correct? Now see, from de Broglie's concept we got Bohr's concept. De Broglie says that electron is having a wave nature. Electron is having a dual nature. And the main thing is for de Broglie. What is the de Broglie's main thing is? Means lambda is equal to h by mb. It is de Broglie's equation. Lambda is called what? De Broglie's wavelength. Lambda is called de Broglie's wavelength. That means de Broglie considers mainly as a wave nature. Sir. So de Broglie considers mainly as a wave nature for the electron. You know that Niels Bohr considers mainly as a particle nature. Why? Because circular path, particular circular path. Niels Bohr considers electron as a circular, electron makes circular, particular circular path. So it is particle. De Broglie says lambda is equal to h by mb. A lambda is called de Broglie's wavelength. That means electron is moving in the form of wave. Now when the waves are in phase, 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. It is constructive. It is stable situation. To this we are substituting lambda value. De Broglie's wavelength we are substituting. We are getting what? Niels Bohr thought we are getting. That means now you say which is correct, which is wrong. Niels Bohr thought is incorrect, or de Broglie's concept is incorrect, or which is correct do you say? We cannot say that which is correct, which is wrong. For everything experimental proof is there. For particle nature experimental proof is there. For wave nature experimental proof is there. And from de Broglie we are getting a Niels Bohr concept. From de Broglie's equation we are getting Niels Bohr concept. From this what does it indicate? This is indicating which one? This indicates that electron has particle nature as well as wave nature. It will behave by its own. Depending on the place, its nature will be changing. Electron's nature will be particle as well as wave. Its nature will be changing depending on the place. That is the conclusion. Sorry, here Niels Bohr, sorry, is there any limitation for this? So we are saying that from de Broglie we got Niels Bohr. Then is there any limitation for these two? Is there any limitation? That means what is the limitation? Means Bohr mainly considers, Bohr's thought is electron is a particle, that's all. He did not say about wave. So that only what had happened, you see, Niels Bohr model is able to explain hydrogen spectrum. Niels Bohr model is able to explain hydrogen spectrum. When hydrogen spectrum is taken using ordinary spectrometer. Ordinary spectrometer. What is spectrometer? Spectrometer is the instrument which is used for taking spectrum. So when hydrogen spectrum is obtained using ordinary spectrometer, that is explained by Niels Bohr. When hydrogen spectrum is obtained by using high resolving power spectrometer, Niels Bohr unable to explain this. Niels Bohr unable to explain this, whereas Niels Bohr able to explain this. What is a high resolving power spectrometer? That means in this prism will be there, here also prism will be there. This prism has higher resolving power when compared to this prism. This prism is able to detect even small variation wavelengths when compared to this. Okay. So this hydrogen spectrum is unable to explain by Niels Bohr. Then for hydrogen-like species, spectrum, hydrogen-like species spectrum is unable to explain by Niels Bohr. Next we will take multi-electron atoms. Multi-electron atoms also giving spectrum, that is unable to explain by Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr did not mention anything about multi-electron atoms. He mentioned only about a single electron, uni-electron. So Niels Bohr model is having how many limitations, you see? Because Niels Bohr considers electron as a particle and it makes a particular circular path. That is the mistake Niels Bohr committed. Niels Bohr thought is not wrong because it is having particle nature, but he says that only particle nature is saying no, that is wrong. Electron is having particle nature, it is correct. Only that word is wrong. So what is the difference between de Broglie and Niels Bohr? Niels Bohr says electron is mainly particle, but de Broglie says electron is having dual nature. This is correct. So de Broglie's concept is more advanced when compared with Niels Bohr model. So that only Niels Bohr model is having some limitations. Therefore, in modern atomic theory, de Broglie's concept is considered, but Niels Bohr concept is not considered. Okay, in modern atomic theory, what is considered in the sense de Broglie's concept is considered. Sir. Next, so far, what is the conclusion of de Broglie's concept that we will see? So, conclusion of de Broglie's concept. One is, as per de Broglie's concept, matter has dual nature. Second point, de Broglie's wavelength lambda is equal to what is the formula means h by mb. H by mb. Next formula, what in the sense lambda is equal to h by square root of 2m e v naught. V naught is called stopping potential. Next point, this dual concept is significant for micro bodies. Significant for micro bodies. Next point is this de Broglie's concept is insignificant for macro bodies. Insignificant for macro bodies. For macro bodies, particle nature is enough. For micro bodies, dual nature is important. Next one is 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. From this, we can derive mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. nh by 2 pi. This says that dual nature is important for micro bodies because lambda is called de Broglie's wavelength. By substituting de Broglie's wavelength, we are getting mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi means what? This from wave nature, we are getting particle nature. That is the meaning. That means electron is having dual nature. That is the meaning for this. Okay. So de Broglie's conclusion is so and so. Okay. Next we will go for Heisenberg. Next we are going for Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle we will take. In this principle, first we will see the word called uncertainty. We will see what is the word called uncertainty word we will see. Sir, first we will see what is certain, what is certain, what is uncertain. These two words we will see. What is certain and what is uncertain, these two words we will see. Now, certain in the sense exact value. Uncertain in the sense inexact value. Inexact value. Exact in the sense accurate value. Inexact in the sense inaccurate value. Now, you give the example for accurate value and you give the example for inaccurate value. Now, which measurement is an example for accurate value? Which measurement is example for inaccurate value? You give the example. Okay. So, measurement, which measurement is accurate? Which measurement is inaccurate? For this, we give the example. Sir, shall we say all the measurements are accurate? In day-to-day life, many measurements we are coming across. We are coming across many measurements. For example, purchasing some rice. Rice purchasing means some 10 kilogram or 50 kilogram like this. So, do you think that 50 kilogram rice in the sense, is it exactly 50 kilogram? Can we say? We cannot say that that is exactly 50 kilogram. Whatever the measurement you say, you take, that measurement will have limitation naturally. Limitation will be there. Without limitation, no measurement is there in day-to-day life, whether it is macro or micro or whatever the thing. Any measurement you take, that will have limitation. Any measurement you take, that will have inaccuracy. Whatever the measurement you take, that will have uncertainty. Any measurement. This is naturally happening. Okay. So how do we say like this? All the measurements are inaccurate. How do you say? How do you say that all the measurements are inaccurate? For that, you consider that. Now, ordinary balance will take. We will take ordinary balance. Using ordinary balance, suppose we are measuring 1 gram. Now we will use a high-tech balance. High-tech balance will take. But this balance is having higher efficiency than this. Using that, we will get how much in the sense 1.01 gram. Still higher efficiency we will see 1.009 gram we will get. Still higher efficiency we will see 1.00. Okay, how much means here 89 will get. So still higher efficiency if we see, so we will get 1.0889 we will get. Like this it will go on continuous. Now you say this will end at where you say. This will end at where you say. This point will end at where. Some balances will say in terms of grams. Some balances if you say this is what means 0.01 grams. This is what means 0.001 gram. In terms of 0.001 gram. This is in terms of 0.001 gram. So now you say which balance will give ending to this question mark? No balance will give ending to this question mark. It will go and end at where? At infinity. At infinity means we do not know. We do not know in the sense whatever the measurement we do, that is having inaccuracy, that is the meaning, no? That is having uncertainty, that is the meaning, no? This uncertainty we are coming across for macro. For macro itself uncertainty we are coming in the sense for macro itself uncertainty in measurement we are coming across in the sense. What about for micro? We are unable to see about atom, electron, proton, neutron. For micro bodies, what about the measurements? Measurements in the sense either position or whatever you take. So for micro bodies, what about measurements certainty? So no doubt for micro bodies measurements will be uncertain. No doubt at all. For macro bodies itself, measurement is uncertain in the sense, how do we say that for micro bodies measurement will be certain? So we conclude that for micro bodies measurement with respect to whatever the thing, that is uncertain. Now you take Niels Bohr model. What Niels Bohr model says? Radius of orbit equal to 0.529 n square by z angstrom, particular value. That means radius orbit is having particular radius, he says. How do we say that it is the certain value? When the measurements is having uncertainty, Niels Bohr says radius is having so and so orbit, and energy of electron is